Tell us a little bit about what you saw and being able to relay that message to Cora when you watched Kimbrel pitch and kind of help out so he wasn't tipping his pitches.
So tipping pitches, we hear about it all the time.
People at home understand what tipping pitches is all about.
It's amazing.
And that's remarkable.
Alex, as you well know, I was out of the old US of A last weekend.
You were.
That's why our episode was banked. Wonderful episode with our friend Hannah Kaiser and our new friend Frankie Impastato from Maxiel. Little 3 of 3 down. Little discussion of the New York Mets. Little discussion of emo music. Some of our favorite topics and segments. Wonderful episode if you haven't listened to that. When I landed back in the United States of America and I was standing in line for passport control, made the crazy decision to go to Citi Field. I was like, I'm just going to go straight from JFK to Citi Field. Did stop at home first, but went to JFK.
It was weird that there wasn't a game going on and you just like wanted to go there anyway.
Let me in. Like the Eric Andre bit.
Exactly.
I'm doing that at the Citi Field Jackie Robinson Rotunda. They're asking me to leave, but you know what? They appreciate my gusto. And while I was at this game at Citi Field against the Philadelphia Phillies, a game in which the New York Mets went on to win, another Griffin Canning gem, another David Stearns masterclass. That's not what I want to talk about today, of course. Why would we talk about what happens on the field? Why do we talk about the best team in baseball? Don't want to talk about that.
You mean the Chicago Cubs? Sorry, I'm derailing your entire cold open right here.
I'm not convinced.
Okay.
I'm not convinced that they have the same devil magic that the Mets are accessing. No, while I was at that game, I had a thought, and I texted you this thought. Tuesday, 8:56 p.m. Eastern. The pitch clock has ruined walk-up songs. There's a free take for you.
It was a good take.
It has ruined them.
It has.
Every walk-up song gets cut short now. Mm-hmm. And I don't think the players and the PA systems have really come up with a strategy to overcome this problem facing our great game.
Right. I think they are down to 10 seconds now, down from 15 seconds before the pitch clock was implemented.
Your response was that at the same time, has it maybe saved us from having to hear 25 seconds of the same Morgan Wallen song 3 times a game? Right. A good take, I think, in response. And this is the kind of tension that I think propels the Tipping Pitches podcast.
I agree.
Slight disagreements
right.
in places that don't really matter.
Small
in the long
degradations.
And they say the left can't agree on things. Mm-hmm. This is why.
We're proving that they can. We're sitting down in the marketplace of ideas and hashing it out.
We're coming up with a policy. Mm-hmm. In this way, we are not so different from the abundance guys. We're coming up with a policy.
You're the one who brought it out. I want to be clear.
At this point, they're out here on places admitting they were wrong. So I feel like I'm safe. I feel like I'm in the clear. You and I came up with what I would call a compromise, a formula. And the genesis of this formula is this. The better you are, the more time you get to play your walk-up song. I think that we should bring baseball back to a merit-based system.
That's right, we should. Look, when you're performing poorly, what is the point of doing this, right? I think that the point of doing this is...
Like the whole enterprise? Like a walk-up song at all?
Well, no, I meant us specifically, sort of why are we taking this approach? Not just because I don't want to hear the Morgan Wallen song, but also because...
Because you do want to hear the Morgan Wallen song.
Right, yeah. Because I think we shouldn't make it too easy on the guy. If you're struggling, you should feel a little discomfort. You should have one more stat to look up at the scoreboard and feel bad about.
I agree.
Right? It's like a trickle-down swagger, almost, You see the guys who are better than you getting longer walk-up songs, and you're like, I want that for me. Lord, I've seen what you've done for others.
Would you say that this is a little bit of a carrot that we can dangle out in front of more Major League Baseball players?
More carrot than stick. We're not penalizing you.
There's not enough pressure on Major League hitters in particular.
Exactly.
I would say.
Yeah.
So we have to provide... We're really what we're doing is we're providing them a service.
We are.
We're saying wake up and grind for more time. Sorry, for more unnamed audio company time. And so, okay, what is our formula then? We went back and forth a little on this.
We did go back and forth a little bit on this. I was thinking about it also sort of in the intervening days. I think initially we were sort of looking at it from like, just how are you performing this season, right? Like a simple OPS correlated to the number of songs. I don't know if you want to talk about the formula that you had put forth a little bit.
Well, yeah, okay. So originally, I think the main culprit here is that guys don't do a good job of picking the correct 10 seconds of a song.
Right.
They maybe pick the beginning of a chorus, and then they're not thinking musically enough about it. You want the most soaring moment of the song, or the grooviest moment of the song, or the most motivating moment of the song, depending on what type of walk-up song you're picking. And then you kind of came back and you were like, what if we allow the good players to have a longer portion so that they can play more of their song?
Mm-hmm.
And I initially thought that's a good idea. Every 100 points of average gets you 10 seconds. Then if you hit the rare 300, you get to play 30 seconds. But then I was like, that seems really long, especially at the pitch clock days. So I was like, hey, maybe 100 points of OPS gets you like 3 seconds. Does that get us where we want to go? No, that's still probably too long, because as you rightfully pointed out, that's 21 seconds for the league average player and even more for the good players. Still too long.
Mm-hmm.
And then I was like, maybe we could bell curve it.
Right.
I was like, this is now too much math at this point. Maybe everybody starts with 10 seconds.
Right.
Okay, that's what our like fixed point in the middle. Like we're putting it on an OPS plus kind of scale.
Right.
And then for every 5 points of OPS plus, you get an extra second. And for every 5 points below 100 of OPS plus, you lose a second. So you start with on opening day, everybody gets the equal 10 seconds.
Right, exactly. You put the dollars on the table and you say, look, you can lose this tip over the course of the night, you know?
And in this way, we make it a zero-sum game, because OPS plus, as you know, is a league-weighted stat. So in all, this is not going to necessarily be the case every single game, because it's not like you're playing against every player in the league. But all in all, it should basically shake out to still being 10 seconds per player. It's just that the good players get more.
So as I was thinking on it more, I wonder if we should almost blend a couple stats. Like maybe you have a sort of like
a proprietary formula.
Right, exactly. Look, hey, if we're going to pitch this to Major League Baseball, I need it to be airtight. All right. I want to be very clear about that.
I don't know. I mean, they went forward with the pitch com thing, and that didn't really seem so airtight.
That's true.
Not sure what their bar is.
I wonder if it's like a combination of like rolling, or a rolling stat, like maybe rolling like WOBA over the last 30 games or something like that, combined with like season long, so that if you're on a hot streak, you do get rewarded a little bit, even if you're not having a great season. You know, like maybe you're hitting 220 or 240 or whatever, but in the middle of August, all of a sudden you go on a run, fans like seeing you come to the plate, you get benefited a little bit by that. I was also toying with the idea of like, do you like include a sort of like career WAR baseline that like benefits veterans a little bit? Maybe that's too far, you know?
They get paid the most. They don't get paid the most.
I think you're right about that. But that's, I think, where I'm netting out. And you could do it sort of at that, like set the baseline. You start with, 100 and go down or up from there. You could also do it in like bands, where if you're creating this blended formula, converting it to like Z-scores.
Right.
I
love a Z-score.
Yeah, I love a Z-score. Then you say, okay, if you're in this band, you get 5 to 7 seconds. If you're in this band, you get 7 to 9. And then you set some natural limits on it.
So now you're talking about like percentiles. You're
right.
talking about plotting everybody.
That's exactly what I'm saying.
Okay.
What are your thoughts on that?
In that way, it's kind of like tax brackets for walk-up songs.
Right.
Like you better not fall below this band or you're going to lose your seconds. It's like you actually want to make less money so that you don't kick yourself into the top tax bracket. Although that's not how tax brackets really work. Is to get taxed.
It's probably how most Major League Baseball players think tax brackets work.
Well, that's definitely true. I love it. I love it. I think that we just have to tweak the formula based on the outcomes that we want to get. We want to have some. We want
right.
You know what I mean? Like based on the whole sample size of it. We don't want our formula to spit out the fact that like 2/3 of the league is now getting 20 seconds and 1/3 of the league is getting 4 seconds. We want like a healthy variety of walk-up song lengths so that it's really funny when the worst player on your team comes up and they get like 3 seconds, but it's also really cool when Lindor comes up and you get to hear 18 seconds of My Girl or whatever. That was really what happened here. If I'm actually going to pull the curtain back, is that
I kind of thought this might be the case.
He walked out there, and half the time, if he wants to let the Mets fans sing along, because his walk-up song starts with the obviously the very catchy beat of My Girl, the intro to it. And then it doesn't get to the part where you can actually sing along with the chorus that everybody knows the words to for like a solid 20 plus seconds. So sometimes what you'll see Lindor do, especially with his first at-bat of the game, is he'll walk up there and he'll use his one timeout for his at-bat before the at-bat starts to let the song keep playing. That's, first of all, that's showmanship. And I respect that.
Yeah, that's a professional.
But I don't think he wants to do that every time, especially against like a good pitcher. So sometimes it gets cut short. And I think that's a failure on the system here. It's like, why do we have to wait until he's walking up to the plate to start playing that song?
Right.
Like, we all know he's coming. He's going to be leading off every single game.
I see him on the lineup card.
Right. He's leading off every day. Okay, we know this to be true. Unless something goes wrong. So, I don't know. But it seems like they don't want to change. And so we have to change for them.
I agree with you. I also feel like actually Francisco Lindor is the person, not who this impacts the least, but who the fans have figured out such a great workaround for, right? It is like goosebump level moments every single time when the song cuts out and Citi Field continues singing the chorus. Yeah. It's fucking awesome.
It's the most European soccer thing in American sports right now.
Yep. As we've been saying for years, right? Like, make
baseball
it more like
needs
European
to become
soccer.
Basketball and soccer. We've been on this beat for years.
Yeah.
It is really great. I was talking about this with a friend of mine recently, who is also a gigantic Mets fan. I know that it seems silly. Like, this seems like something that, in a weird way, there's a sort of horseshoe theory, like with like the regressive radio guys. Like, this is an opinion that I also share. But it just like kind of matters that he has something like this, and that there's like a relationship between the fans and the player here. And I genuinely think that it makes him play better. And this kind of stuff, it's like, it doesn't really show up in the stat sheet. There's not really a demonstrable effect.
Yes, let's go.
But like, these are the kinds of things that if this team goes on to win a World Series, or even if they don't, if you're telling future generations about what it was like to root for the Francisco Lindor era Mets, this will be part of it. And it's so serendipitous too, because it's not like you could have ever predicted that people were really going to latch onto this and he was going to start hitting better all at the same time. And by the way, that it was going to be such a sweet thing. It's so nice. What a wholesome song. And he picked it for such a wholesome reason, because he loves his wife and daughters.
Yep. It does feel like he has maybe sort of passed the threshold of being sort of at the whims of how he's performing in a given moment, right? Like, he's past the sort of first year plus of struggles of Mets fans, maybe, sort of turning on him a little bit, or not turning on him, but there's some public questioning of the money that was spent on him or whatever, not for good reason, but it feels like we're past that. Like, he's fully embraced. He's Mets legend. If he struggles from here on out, the Mets fans like pick him up at this point. They say, hey, that just means we got to sing My Girl louder, which I think is like awesome. It's really awesome to see a baseball player become minted as like a team legend in real time.
Completely.
It's so sick.
We're watching obviously anything can change at any time, but we are watching potentially the greatest New York Met ever right now. Like, do it every single day. Because he's only been here for 4 years, but he's got 10 more years to go. And, we don't have a lot of guys like that in Mets history. A lot of the guys burned bright, but not long. A lot of the guys were traded away in things that were dubbed the Midnight Massacre. These things have happened over the years. We know this to be true. But I struggle to see a way in which his impact on the organization will not, in one way or another, measure up to the guys such as Keith, such as Doc and Daryl, such as Piazza, such as David Wright. He's like that kind of generational game-changing force as a player and a person. That it's amazing. And I was thinking about it, it's like we live in such an irony-pilled society, and that has really stretched its way to sports with the way that social media has kind of warped the discussion around sports, so that it's not so much about what is happening in real life, but more so about what people's opinions online are about how these things play out. That it's like pretty rare to watch like a tradition unfold too. And maybe Lindor changes his walk-up song next year, and this is all a moot point. But if he doesn't, and he continues to walk up to this song for the next several years, like the Red Sox singing Sweet Caroline had to start at some point, and now they do it every single game.
Yeah.
You have to start somewhere when you start a tradition, and it has to feel authentic. Otherwise it feels kind of corny, and it succumbs to that irony-pilled way that we talk about things that I'm referring to. But it's cool. It just doesn't happen very often in this authentic way. To throw it back to like an original Tipping Pitches beat, this is what it felt like. This was like proto Tipping Pitches. This is before we even had the podcast. This is what it felt like on like Harvey Day when Harvey would pitch. You couldn't make that up. You couldn't predict that it was going to feel like that. You couldn't predict he was going to actually be that good, and you couldn't predict the fervor around it in the way that fans would latch themselves onto it. So, we're working on our formula. Francisco Lindor is great, and Citi Field is a really fun place to be at right now.
If anyone knows how to file patents, please reach out, 785-422-5881. We're really trying to lock down the IP here.
All right, we have a couple fun things to talk about on the podcast today, including 2 new jersey patches, which we must place on our master list of jersey sponsors ranked by how evil they are. Can't wait to revisit this list. It's been a little while. We also have a few bingo squares that we have checked off of our bingo card that I want to talk to you about a little bit. And I have a couple other small things that I'd like to dig into with you. But before we get to all of those fun and wonderful and entertaining and extremely baseball-related topics, I am Bobby Wagner.
I am Alex Paisley.
And you are listening to Tipping Pitches. Alex, you know what? I'd like to read the names of all the new patrons.
Great idea.
Because it's been 3 weeks since we read the names of the new patrons, and I'm not sure if you've noticed, but we've gotten a lot of new ones because folks have signed up through many of our various promotions to get a free month of the Patreon. But if you've signed up, it still counts, no matter how you've signed up. Alex, this week, and for the last 3 weeks, bear with me here, the new patrons are Josh, Peace Picnic, Zachary, Patrick, Reagan, Zachary, Josie, Connor, Seth, Frank, Peter, Jonathan, Nick, Ross, Smayana, Alex, Jamie, Simao, John, Logan, Hoofy Hoof, Otto, Timothy, Max, Ben, Savannah, Ian, Tyler, Anthony, Zach, 3 Zachs now at this point, Tyrone, Daniel, Mitchell, Natalie, Eric, Rob, Sophia, Taylor, James, Dan, Quaylin, Devin, Eli, Chris, Eric, Don, Eric and Don back to back, Drew, Robert, Matthew, Miles J, Creekside Cringe, Where Do You Get Your Protein, Tommy, Rachel, Dylan, and Ben. That's all our new patrons for the last few weeks. That's like 40 names, and there was only one Alex. I consider that a win.
Same.
We're diluting the Alex pool. Sincere
This is
thank you.
when they split stocks, right? You know, you like
Yeah.
dilute the pool that's out there.
Right. This is like what happened to Eduardo Saverin with Facebook. Sincere thank you to everyone who has signed up over at patreon.com/tippingpitches. There's 3 different tiers. I'm just going to make the announcement right now. We're going to get rid of the middle tier. I'm saying this because stop signing up for it, because we are going to transition the Patreon to 2 separate tiers, one of $5, one of $10. We're going to be doing that formally on Patreon over the coming week or so. If you're in that middle tier right now, I'll send you an individual message explaining what you can do. You can either drop down to that thanking pitches tier, or you can move up to the $10 tier and get access to all of our bonus episodes, as well as some other stuff that you get at that top tier. We're just rejuggling the tiers to kind of fit more so what the Patreon has become over the course of the last 3 years. We're coming up on our 3-year anniversary, so we felt like it was a good time to kind of adjust that. Again, if you're in that middle tier, you're not going to be left behind. Your subscription is not going to be canceled. We'll figure out what to do with you, and you can make a decision about where you want to go. And we'll, likely be offering you some sort of discount code, if that is possible within Patreon, to move up to that top tier and see what that's like for a month or so. So, patreon.com/tippingpitches, 2 tiers, $5 and $10. The $10 tier will get you access to all of our bi-weekly, both of those things could mean the same thing. 2 times a month, bonus episodes wherein during the season we do one of our favorite segments, 3 Up, 3 Down, talking about things that bring us joy in the baseball world and things that take that joy away. We just recently kicked that off with Hannah Kaiser, a wonderful episode that covered so much ground. Also over on the Patreon is the expanded version of the Power Hour, where we went deeper and we went more power, more hour.
All right.
We expanded on some of our favorite questions that were asked to us during the Power Hour episode from a few weeks ago, and had a lot of fun doing it. The Patreon's fun. I encourage you to check it out. And I will also give one final plug for the You Can Play fundraiser, which we are closing at the end of April. If you donate to the You Can Play fundraiser, $12 or more, I guess really $10 or more now at this point, because we're going to be changing the price of the top tier of the Patreon, and you send us a screenshot of your receipt, if you're not a current patron, you will get a link that you can redeem for 1 free month of the top tier of our Patreon. We've raised over $6,000 now at this point. I think more like $6,500, which is amazing. We'd love to kind of, if you have a couple extra dollars and you haven't donated it yet, we'd kind of like to try to make a strong push at the end of this month here. But really heartfelt thank you to everybody who has donated to You Can Play over the course of the last month and a half that we've been running this GoFundMe. I think that's everything. I read like 40 people's names.
Mm-hmm.
Does that mean that it's time to talk about jerseys?
I think we should. It's been too long.
It has been too long. But that's not our fault. Teams
No.
didn't have new jersey patches.
Correct. Yeah. But we've been blessed this year, Bobby. We have 2 new jersey patches to place on our list of.
Do you want to explain what this list is?
I think we should. Yes. So at I guess the beginning of last year, we in concurrence with Major League Baseball rolling out their jersey patch sponsorships for MLB teams, we decided, hey, let's take a look at these. Let's peel the cover back on some of these companies and figure out who's doing it right, who's doing it wrong. Let's rank every single sponsor based on their morality, based on their the positive or negative impact that they have on the world.
Yeah.
We just want to take a different perspective.
Some
this, right?
podcasts are talking baseball,
Mhm.
Some podcasts are talking Yanks. Some podcasts talking baseball, some podcasts talking Yanks. We're talking ethics.
Mm-hmm. Tipping ethics. That's what I always say.
Moral pitches. Nope, I like tipping ethics better. Tipping
Okay.
morals maybe even the best.
Tipping morals. Ooh. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. We're going to brainstorm a little bit.
Yeah.
Do you want to like quickly run through our list as it stands so far?
Yes, I do.
Okay.
This is from least evil to most evil. So the more evil you are, the higher you rank.
Right. Okay.
I feel like over the course of the last 2 years, we've finally gotten good at explaining how this list works.
Yes, exactly. Yeah.
By the way, this was like the most fun episode we've ever done. Like one of the best things we've ever done. So if you haven't listened to that, the link is in the description. You can go back and listen to that original episode. I know we have a lot of new listeners over the years. You know, we churn a lot of listeners in and out based on whether or not people give a shit about the stuff that we talk about. So if you didn't listen to this episode, I highly, highly, highly encourage it.
Yeah, it's a banger. Real tipping pitches core. All right, starting with the least evil, that is the most moral team. Jersey Patch.
Right.
New York Mets with New York Presbyterian Hospital.
That's right, baby. It's all about the Mets.
Then we have the Detroit Tigers with Meyer. The Kansas City Royals with Quick Trip. The Padres and the Cubs both with Motorola. Pittsburgh Pirates and Sheets.
Boo.
Arizona Diamondbacks and Avnet.
Yep.
Cincinnati Reds and Kroger.
This game's being played under protest. Alex had such a heavy hand in getting Kroger down that low. I just want to say that for all the folks out there who know all the evil that Kroger is up to. I fought for them to be like in the top 5.
Los Angeles Angels with FBM, that is Foundation Building Materials, I think.
Yeah, sure.
Something like that. Toronto Blue Jays, TD Bank.
That's my bank.
Miami Marlins and ADT. Then the Boston Red Sox and Mass Mutual. The Milwaukee Brewers and Northwestern Mutual.
So funny of us to just be like,
they're the same. I don't know. Put them together. Baltimore Orioles and T. Rowe Price. This brings us into the top 10 of the most evil, or
right,
the bottom 10.
So really, right. Mm-hmm.
Right. Mm-hmm.
The top or the bottom, whichever way you look at it. You know,
right, exactly.
Life is all about perspective.
Uh-huh.
This is what I'm saying.
We have the San Francisco Giants and Chevrolet.
Again, a heinous misappropriation of power here is going on.
Right.
With what you've done to Chevrolet. I don't even know what the phrase that I just said was.
That was good. Heinous misappropriation of power.
Yeah.
New York Yankees and Star Insurance.
Atlanta Braves for companies.
Sure. Atlanta Braves and Quick Crete. Philadelphia Phillies and Independence Blue Cross.
Yep.
Into the top or bottom 5 here. Los Angeles Dodgers and Guggenheim. The St. Louis Cardinals and Stifle.
Guggenheim got away with one. Looking at this list.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Okay.
Cleveland Guardians and Marathon. This brings us into the fossil fuel corner of this list. The Texas Rangers, number 2 with Energy Transfer.
Yeah.
And with the most evil Jersey Patch sponsorship.
Somehow outranking Energy Transfer, the Dakota Access Pipeline people.
I don't know. I feel like this one has history on its side. That is the Houston Astros and Oxy, formerly known as Occidental Petroleum.
Anytime you can rebrand to Oxy and it gives you better PR,
right, exactly.
You know you were doing some cool stuff.
That's it. That's 23 baseball teams with Jersey patches. But we got 2 more.
We got 2 more. Here go 2 more for y'all, as LeBron James would say.
That would be the Oakland.
Ooh.
Fuck.
Ooh. Ooh.
That would be
A's.
The Athletics.
Drop
that would be
the
Ath. Right.
No,
the
Athletics. Just A's.
With the Las Vegas Convention and Visitors Authority. Just with their little Welcome to Las Vegas patch.
Mm-hmm.
Celebrating their eventual move.
Where you are initially thinking about where this one goes.
And the Seattle Mariners, a little brand called Nintendo.
Reserving my thoughts.
These are some good ones. I'm excited. I got some thoughts, but I don't think you get to reserve your thoughts at this point. This is the point to dump the notebook.
Okay. I didn't even need to look into either of these things because the Q score on both of these things is high. I feel as though I know a lot about Nintendo on account of the fact that I've been using their products for decades at this point. And the Las Vegas Tourism Bureau?
Right. Whatever it is. Yeah.
Sure. It's just like the whole city, I guess. That one I'm like a little bit more confused on. Let's start with Nintendo because that one feels a little easier and like a little bit less of a conversation. # conversation, capital C conversation. This has to be like second to last, right? Meaning second best.
Yes.
Morally.
Yes. I think I wrote down 2 or 3 in my notes.
Why would you put it that way? You don't hold to our own conventions. 2 or 3 would make it evil. You should have written down 21 or 22. God, you're killing me, Smalls.
I don't know what it is about my brain that just cannot conceptualize.
No, I get it. It's because it's like good should rank higher and evil should rank lower, but that's not how we did it here.
But that's not how we did it, right?
Because honestly, though, there's a qualitative reason behind that, and it's because the paradigm here is that none of these companies are good, quote unquote.
Right. Yes.
It's like, are you more evil? So that's how we wanted to frame it. But I think any way you look at it, I think Nintendo has done better in the world than most of these companies, if not all of them.
Mm-hmm.
I think the only one that you could make the case is that the Mets have a hospital on their jersey, and it's like probably
Right.
more important for the world to have hospitals than video games. But like, it's close, you know.
It is close.
It's close. I think
mental health versus physical health, right there.
I think I would say, and I feel pretty strongly that they would go between the Mets and the Tigers. So that is between New York Press and Meyer. Nintendo, second least evil.
I feel good about that. My only debate was, do they go above the Royals, right? Do you put the sort of like grocery oriented companies above them? But honestly, I don't think you do.
Do they have like particularly bad labor practices?
Nintendo?
Yeah. Let's check the controversy section of their Wikipedia page.
I didn't find one.
I mean, not to be like Nintendo is totally clean morally, but like, aren't they making art in some ways? Nowhere else on here is making art. I mean,
Right.
You could argue that like mostly what their commerce is not so different from Motorola.
Right.
Like,
I mean, you could argue that like
that they actually make does involve extractive capitalism, does involve supply chains that are exploitative, does involve like all of the same global capitalist levers that many of these companies pull on. And so in that way, they're like a technology company, and that's tough.
Yeah. I feel like they're more like funding art than they are that one's actually making it, right? Like,
yeah, but video games are art. I mean, I think
no. I agree.
Motorola
CEO of Nintendo.
Motorola made the Razor. Okay, Nintendo made Mario Golf. Which one would you rather have?
Right. Yes. Yeah.
I'd rather have Mario Golf.
I mean, also, like, Nintendo is pretty foundational to just like the video game, the like history of video games as a whole. Like, the industry maybe does not exist in the way that it does today, if not for them. Which, I don't know. That's pretty cool.
According to the AI overview.
God damn it.
Nintendo, despite its strong reputation, I Googled Nintendo scandals, has faced various controversies throughout its history, including those surrounding product quality, pricing, and legal issues. What company of this size hasn't had legal issues? Specifically, the Nintendo Switch has seen controversies related to, quote, Joy-Con drift. Joy-Con drift.
Okay.
This is like a thing that like the controllers don't work the way people want them to. It's like,
Right.
come on now. Compared to building the Dakota Access Pipeline, what are we talking about here? Price increases and legal battles over trademarks and piracy. Gotta say, if AI can't come up with something more scandalous than that, I feel pretty good about where we put them.
I just learned the other day that if you use Google's AI, if you like Google, specifically on Google, like phrase
I know what you're
meaning,
gonna say. Yeah, even if it's like a gibberish phrase that doesn't mean anything at all.
it'll come up with a meaning for you. It'll be like, two wet frogs is a bad omen. Generally means that there are, if you have 2 signs of trouble, like you're really in for it right now. I had so much fun the other day just like typing in random phrases.
I just typed in the phrase Pete Ricketts campaign finance scandal meaning.
Uh-huh.
AI refuses to say anything.
Wow.
This is censorship.
This is absolutely censorship. What is Big Google trying to protect?
Really makes you think. What are some other tipping pitches related phrases?
Liquor ladies leverage meaning.
Oh, great one. AI overview. Liquors, ladies, and leverage is a phrase coined by investment legend Charlie Munger and later popularized by, you're never going to believe it, Warren Buffett.
Fuck. So this is actually a real quote? Damn
Yeah.
it. That's not as fun.
I know. How about raw milk IL stint meaning? Nope, it doesn't want to take a swing at that one either.
God.
See, they don't want to come in. This is the thing about AI. Oh, it's changing the world. And yet, they don't want to meet us in the marketplace of ideas and see whether they can stand up to the test.
Yeah.
Tipping pitches test.
I was reading an article yesterday about how like one of the AI companies is trying to is considering like whether its model has like awareness of itself, like if like a user asks it a distressing question, like should it be able to be like, sorry, for my mental health purposes, like I can't answer that or something like that. And frankly, I think it's fucking awesome that we're giving AI anxiety. Like that is so cool.
Yeah.
I would like the AI to be like, frankly, I'm going to kill myself. Like that's the point where I needed to get.
No, I want the AI to get to the point where it's like ironically self-deprecating and using humor to detract from the fact that it has serious mental health struggles. Like maybe what I would like AI to do is to start like a niche leftist baseball podcast and keep it running for like 7.5 years.
Oh,
that's when I'll believe that it has sentience. Okay, Nintendo.
Should we rank? Yeah.
Yeah, Nintendo is going number 22, and then which pushes the Mets down to 23, which is actually a good thing in this ranking.
Well, I guess it is 22. Yes. Okay. Yeah.
And that leaves us with Las Vegas, Sin City, as it's known.
Mm-hmm.
What happens in Vegas stays in Vegas, unless it's the A's plans to build a new stadium, which immediately get leaked everywhere.
Right. God, this is really hard because
you love Las Vegas.
Because I love Las Vegas. It's the only place that I can do to go do my band topic.
Oh yeah, true. Your sequence bet,
right, exactly. I mean, it's really hard to say that like they are worse than investment funds. You know?
Yeah.
The thing is, like, it is basically like publicly subsidized boosterism for gambling.
I know. So I don't know how to exactly weigh it because it's not like casinos are the only thing in Las Vegas, but they are certainly the thing that has a vested interest in the tourism bureau, spamming the world with its message.
Exactly.
Like we all know that like Las Vegas was built by the mob. Like tough to come back from that.
Yeah. It's also like it's built in the middle of a desert. Like it's largely rests on the idea of like just draining any existing water from the surrounding area.
Yeah. As the noted water tracker of the Tipping Pitches podcast, you're really offended by this.
Oh, I don't know, man.
No, I'm with you.
So like I like that we put sort of all the like T. Rowe Price, Northwestern Mutual, Mass Mutual in the middle because I don't really know what any of them do.
Totally interchangeable.
Yeah, completely interchangeable.
T. Rowe Price. Okay.
All right.
That's good for you, you know? It's like those memes of people being like I hope like with a movie title where they haven't seen the movie. and they're like, I don't know what happened. I never watched the movie or something like that. Like, what's eating Gilbert Grape? Like, I hope it's not a scary monster that's eating him. I don't know. I haven't seen the movie. Like, that's how I feel about T. Rowe Price. I'm like, I hope they're all rowing in the same direction. I don't know.
I hope it's a good price.
Right. Set a fair price. I don't know.
I mean, what do you think about in like the 15 range? Like
Okay. This is bringing up a fundamental issue that I have with this list, which is that I look at Kroger and I can't imagine putting Las Vegas like more evil than Kroger is the problem, because Kroger to me is like way too low. So if we're accepting that truth, then I mean, like, to me, there's no way they have to be somewhere behind Kroger.
Okay, so you want to put them directly ahead of Kroger?
I just don't totally remember enough about how evil Avnet is. Like, I remember that it was started by Charles Avner, who was a World War II pilot or something like that.
All right, wait, look, here's what we can do. All right,
okay.
Let's take this
right.
moment right now.
You just put on your deal-making hat.
I just put on my deal-making hat. Do you want to re-rank Kroger? Do you want to replace them on the? Let's do it. Because
how much clearer could I be?
Well, you could have asked. Hold
on. I'm writing you a letter saying that I'd like to re-rank Kroger, and I'm putting it in the mail right now. I'm taking out a billboard outside of Yankee Stadium like John Boy Media.
Where do you think they fall? Do you think they're like
fourth,
5? Okay.
No, not actually. They're not more evil than Guggenheim. I'm just being dramatic.
I know.
Okay. I think that Kroger is more evil than Quick Create, less evil than Independence Blue Cross Blue Shield or whatever.
Okay, yeah.
The health insurance company.
Mm-hmm.
So I think it would be the prudent thing to do to just take Kroger and put them 7th.
Great.
Okay.
I don't want to hear another fucking word about it.
Good. It's settled. Frankly, it's basically a banned topic. And now I feel free. I feel free.
I know.
To put Las Vegas wherever. You'll hear from me in the future about Chevrolet. You will.
I'm digging my heels in on that one.
Why? Because they make a great product that Americans use have been using for a century to get where they need to go and do what they need to do to live on this mortal coil. Is that why?
Yeah. Frankly, I don't think you can mow down enough kids.
You keep coming back to this. Like, they're the only company that makes big trucks.
They're the only big truck company that's on this list.
Touche.
Put Ford on here. I'll put them lower.
What is
higher?
Quick Creek doing that is so evil? I don't understand that either. You were really like...
All right. I think I've opened up a can of worms here by allowing us to re-rank some stuff.
Was it ever closed?
No.
Was it ever closed?
Maybe at some point in the season, we can bring in a third party to sort of do an audit of this list.
Oh my God. We're going Office of Management and Budget on this?
I'm sorry. I'm in my McKinsey bag. I don't know what to tell you.
You're in your wonk era. I don't know. I don't like the idea of letting someone else weigh in on this. This one feels so foundationally, our DNA is all over this.
Yeah.
Only our brains could come together to put together these companies in this exact order.
What do you think about like
monkeys at the typewriter can have done this, you know?
Okay, so what do you think about...
This really does feel like passing a government budget.
Yeah, I know. Seriously. Good God. Now I know what reconciliation's like.
It's like, I won't stand. I won't sign off on this budget. My constituents won't allow me to sign off on this budget until Kroger is in the top 10. Yeah. Okay, what do I think about what? For Las Vegas?
I don't know. I'm thinking like kind of smack dab in the middle, or I guess maybe slightly lower than smack dab in the middle, right? Like, again, it feels hard for me to rank the Las Vegas Tourism Authority as being more evil than like some sort of investment fund, than like most
like
insurance
marketing
companies.
Majors who are part of like the Las Vegas government. You know, they're like public service job basically.
Right. Exactly. Yeah, I don't know. Maybe they are like at like 16 between
I love
TD
that.
Bank and FBM.
You just read my mind.
Bang. Look at that.
They're not more evil than a bank.
No. They
But-
could, depending on the way you look at it, be more evil than like a construction materials business.
Exactly. They're probably utilizing FBM,
Yes.
so therefore they're compromised anyway.
This is great. I feel really good about where this list is netted out.
Okay. So our 2 new entries onto the most evil jersey patch sponsor list are Nintendo at number 23 and Las Vegas, that's the Seattle Mariners, and the Las Vegas Convention and Visitors Authority at number 16. We now have 25 jersey patches because, as you might remember, the tie at number 20 is the Padres and Cubs, both using Motorola. That means 5 teams do not have jersey patches. 5. Those 5 are the Minnesota Twins, the Tampa Bay Rays, the Chicago White Sox, the Washington Nationals, and somehow, someway, the Colorado Rockies.
I don't know who would.
Monfort was just like, I don't need the money. I'm doing fine.
Should we approach the Colorado Rockies?
Yes. Yeah. Ask them if they want to trade us Chris Bryant.
Yes, exactly.
Will we get all 5 jersey patches? Who knows? The Yankees think they're too good for a City Connect, but not too good for a jersey patch somehow.
So funny.
So funny. We can't soil the pinstripes by changing it and making a City Connect, but we can put a fucking ad on the sleeve. So silly. Okay, this was fun. Do you want to talk about would you like to talk about the bingo card?
Let's do it.
Yo, real quick before we talk about the bingo card, got a little submission from a listener on the old X the Everything app, direct messages.
Mm-hmm.
I'd like to fill you in on something.
Please.
This comes from Aaron. This is a LinkedIn post from a man named Jesse Itzler, who appears to have gone to American University and has been a contributor to the LeBron James Foundation. I'm not logged into LinkedIn right now, so I can't see what his actual experience is. I'm just going to read you this post. He's a CEO, founder, and motivational and keynote speaker, which is what it says on your LinkedIn as well.
Exactly.
I never should have closed a deal with Coca-Cola, but here's how I did. When pitching my coconut water brand to Coca-Cola execs, I discovered their negotiator was a diehard Yankees fan. You know what he did, Alex? I made a call to A-Rod. Quote, want shares in a coconut water company? He agreed to my simple request. Show up at my office during the meeting. I'd act busy. He'd leave. 5:05 p.m. We're deep in negotiations when Alex Rodriguez knocks on my glass door. Quote, Rod, I'll call you at 7. The
Rod.
Coke's exec's jaw dropped. Was that Alex Rodriguez? I shrugged. Yeah, anyway, back to the deal. Deal closed. Business isn't just numbers. It's positioning and knowing what makes people tick. What's the boldest move you've made to win a deal? This guy's LinkedIn post is literally just like, I conned Coca-Cola into signing a deal with me.
I love it's like, it's not just about numbers. It's about knowing famous people who can.
It's about being
help
able to
con you.
call Alex Rodriguez.
Exactly. Like, oh, that's all it takes. Do you think if we reached out to Alex Rodriguez and said, look, we're trying to do a deal with Major League Baseball on merit-based walk-up songs.
Mm-hmm.
I just need you to swing by the office.
Yeah. No, I don't think that his coin it can spend in that realm. I don't think that MLB
You're
front
right.
office likes him very much. God, this is so funny. It confirms
is
everything we
hilarious.
thought about A-Rod, which is just that he just shows up places.
Exactly. That's all he has to do, frankly.
Yep.
That's the currency of that man's name.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. I like the notion that people who know him call him Rod. Rod, I'll call you at 7.
Should we start referring to him like that?
The Tipping Pitches Slack exclusively refers to him as Rod.
Wow. So they know them. No, they know him better than we do.
It's like Facebook, drop the A. It's just Rod.
Second Facebook reference on this episode.
I just watched The Social Network on my plane to London. What a picture.
That's a good movie.
You seen that one?
Yeah. Bang.
Crazy story. Can't believe they made all that up.
Whatever happened to that company?
It's doing really well because it's pivoted into the generative AI boom.
Right, the AI slop corner. Do you want to talk about our bingo card?
Yeah, I do.
All
We've
right.
checked off 3 things off the bingo card. Why don't we just go over each of them?
I think we should.
Take it away then.
Oh, fine.
I'm tired of talking. I have to think of a couple more Facebook jokes.
That's fair. On our 2025 season preview bingo card, we've checked off, as you mentioned, 3 things thus far. I'll do it in the order that we have checked things off. The first thing we got was a fast food mascot throwing out the first pitch for a non-Mets team.
Correct.
We checked this one off early. Ronald McDonald threw a first pitch out for, do you remember the team? I don't remember the team.
I'm trying to scroll
The
back.
Nationals, maybe?
I'm trying to scroll.
Okay.
Trying to scroll. Turns out we be tweeting. And when I say we, I mean me.
You.
Yeah, he threw it out for the Phils.
Phils, okay. Wow.
You go Phils. You got
Mm.
Ronald McDonald out here throwing out the first pitch. Let's go at the bank. Little
I
free
guess they're-
Delco for you there.
that was really remarkable stuff. They're just throwing stuff at the wall and seeing what sticks, you know? They're saying it worked for the Mets. Why don't
It's
we
not
give it a
working
shot?
yet.
Exactly.
It's not working yet because frankly they had to come to City, and the baseball / fast food mascot gods recognized it as, dare I say, stolen valor.
100%.
Also, Ronald McDonald is kind of a dud of a fast food mascot.
I know.
If you're
Come
gonna do it, if you're gonna try to rip it off, at least go with a different fast food company.
Right.
Like the Mets and Grimace, that was a McDonald's thing too. Like you're expecting the McDonald's X the Everything app to split allegiances now at this point? Like that's just too much.
Right. Get Wendy out there.
Right, Wendy from Wendy's fame.
Mhm.
Wendy, Mrs. Wendy of Wendy's
Mrs.
fame.
Wendy. Mhm.
What about the Chick-fil-A cow? That was the other one that I suggested.
That was a good
Get
one.
some
Yeah.
poor soul out in that cow costume, which is like really baggy, trying to throw the first pitch. Be like Chris Sale in those jerseys that he didn't like. Be really upset. Cut the sleeves off of the Chick-fil-A cow.
I think you got to go out and do the thing where like there are 2 people in there. You know, there's one person acting as the front of the cow, one person acting as the back of the cow.
Those definitely have official names, like the steer. You know, one person. I don't know, what would you call that? The rump. One's the rump.
The rump.
Yeah. What other fast food mascots though? Does In-N-Out have a mascot? No, right?
Jesus Christ.
Well, in some ways, he's all of our mascot.
That's fair.
We didn't even get to talk
Hamburglar.
about Easter last weekend because we didn't do the pod. We
That's
would have
true.
recorded on Easter.
Oh my God. I mean, that's our beat.
Bad beat for our Catholicism, long-running
Jesus.
Catholicism topic. We haven't even talked about the Pope dying.
Oh my God. Do you want to? Okay, wait. I'm going to stop recording and we can just start over if that works for you.
You've been recording? I thought we were just talking.
I don't know what other fast food mascots there are.
The Burger King.
Ooh, good one. Here's the thing about Burger King is that it's bad.
It's the worst.
It's just so bad.
It's like exceptionally bad. What about Dunkin' Donuts? They could have had Ben Affleck come out and throw the first pitch.
Would have been a good bit. Holding the like all the drinks in his hand.
Right? The little carrier in under one arm while throwing out the first pitch.
Spills the coffee all over the mound.
Listen up, Mr. Henry. That's a free idea for you and your Boston Red Sox.
Mm-hmm.
That
Hey.
first one's a freebie, but the next one is going to come with a little consulting fee.
Yeah, exactly. Well, so here's the thing about that is that they're just getting all their ideas from ChatGPT anyway. Because the next item on our bingo card
Okay, segue.
is that we get a story about a team using AI in their front office. And lo and behold, we got that. We got a story, a couple smaller stories here and there about the Red Sox using the enterprise version of ChatGPT as their quote unquote everyday AI solution for members of their front office.
I'm really thankful that they're using the enterprise version because
Me
that's the
too.
version that we use here too when we're coming up with topics.
Yep.
This came to us from beloved listener and Tipping Pitches community member Dante, who shared an article with us from fastforward.boldstart.vc, which is a website that I know is your homepage.
That is fine.
And has been for a couple of years at least.
I was trying to get the VC URL for our website, but tippingpitches.vc was already taken
By A-Rod.
Exactly.
He swooped in, you know. He's got a SPAC for us out there in the world. I know it.
I know that he does.
Yeah, this one's pretty straightforward. I think honestly, these first two I thought were the most likely two to get checked off. So
Yeah,
no
100%.
surprises here.
Although number 3 coming in close on very unsurprising.
Number 3 felt very likely, but not as likely that we would find out about it in real time. To me.
Yes, agreed.
And we're referring to, of course, Robert Dean Manfred Jr. of Rome, New York, heading down to 1600 Pennsylvania Avenue.
Yes, indeed. This came out about a week ago or so. Reports came out that, in fact, it was Major League Baseball itself that they came out with a statement. Rob Manfred had gone to the White House to meet with President Donald J. Trump.
Something so funny about Rob's middle name being Dean, which feels like a nickname, and Trump's middle name being John, which is a nickname. Just a couple of guys with 3 silly names.
Right. Rob and Don, just chopping it up. John and Dean. Talking about issues, I think they phrased it like, quote, issues pertaining to Major League Baseball or something like that. I think the consensus was they probably talked about 2 things. Maybe others. But most likely, one, Pete Rose, who is, as it stands, as permanently banned as he is permanently dead.
Round of applause, folks.
And it's also possible they may have discussed some issues related to diversity, equity, and inclusion. This, I think, is not really confirmed, but given the sort of capitulation that MLB showed in the early weeks of the season to the Trump administration, basically saying get rid of any diversity references, it stands to reason that they may have discussed that as well. Or that Robert Manfred may have come in and said, "Sir, please be happy with us, sir. We got rid of every reference to diversity on our careers page. Jackie Robinson means nothing to us anymore. Please, sir, don't penalize us."
I think the shittiest part of this, aside from the world that we're in, I think that part goes without saying. The shittiest part of this to me is that 24 hours later, MLB said that it was considering a similar pardon of Rose's lifetime ban posthumously that would allow him to be voted on for the Hall of Fame. Which at this point, there are enough dumb guys who still vote for the Hall of Fame that I think he might get in.
Mm-hmm.
And it's beyond his 10-year window or whatever. So this would be, in theory, I'm not totally up on how these different systems work, but like some committee would put him in. It wouldn't even go to the full vote. So I think that there's like kind of no way that he doesn't get in, which is just like, we already have this discourse every 3 months where it's like, should Pete Rose? This is because some radio host like has nothing else to talk about for an hour, and they're like, I don't know, should Pete Rose get in the Hall of Fame? And I'm just like, no. Like, no. This isn't even an issue with nuance to me. It's just like pretty firmly no. I don't want that guy there. Sorry. It's not even for the betting stuff, which at this point they've sort of kneecapped themselves on having any moral argument against putting him in for the betting stuff. I think it's for all the other stuff that somehow gets glossed over by the betting thing.
The thing is, if he doesn't make it in, I think the only way that happens is because of the betting stuff, right? Like I really don't think anyone is going to draw a firm line between his improprieties off the field, because we've seen that like that frankly doesn't really matter to voters. That idea of a character clause, which is absolutely something that Hall of Fame voters are allowed to consider, is really not something that comes into play all that often, unless it is
Unless
like
your name's
directly
Kurt Schilling.
unless your name is Kurt Schilling.
And you're a fucking loser who everybody hates.
Exactly.
Do you remember when Kurt Schilling bankrupted that video game company?
So awesome.
That was such a great beat for us to
Mhm.
talk about that for like weeks straight when it had nothing to do with baseball. Yeah. I mean, it's more interesting to me, frankly, for what it means for the other guys who have had lifetime bans.
Mhm.
Like, does this mean Shoeless Joe should get in now?
Yes.
I would support that more than I would support putting Pete Rose in.
100%.
Like that happened in like World War I, you know?
It was literally a different baseball game back then.
They didn't
Like-
even have the A-bomb yet. Also, it was to own Comiskey, which is funny.
Which
So-
is really funny. Rest in peace, Shoeless Joe. You would have loved broadcast sponsored band topics.
Rest in peace, Shoeless Joe. You would have loved the 42% boost for Jackie Robinson Day.
Oh my God.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, I find it hard to believe that they didn't also talk about tariffs, right? Considering that MLB's supply chain relies heavily on international materials to like produce the goods that make them all of the money, not just the jerseys and merchandise, which is definitely not produced on United States soil in any way, shape, or form at all. But also the literal bats, balls, gloves, chalk, basically any raw materials that you can think of that go into the Major League Baseball experience.
I mean, it's possible, but also like what would they even talk about? Like Manfred would be like, so what's the deal with these tariffs? And Trump's like, we're doing insider trading with them. Do you want to get in on it? Manfred would be like, sure, I guess so, as long as it doesn't affect our business.
The notion that Manfred's not already in on the insider trading is funny.
Well, I don't know. I feel like maybe he's on the outs with Trump, right? And so this is his. No, you don't think so?
I don't think so. I have it on pretty good authority that Manfred is not on the outs with Donald Trump.
No. Yeah, I mean, fuck, man. I don't know. Again, we saw this coming. We knew this was going to happen.
Yeah, that's why we put it on our bingo card.
That's why we put it on the bingo card. Where do we go from here?
Yeah, I don't know. Do you think maybe Morgan Sword is more of a lib? Like, are we going to get a hashtag neolib era in the commissioner's office? The neoliberal swing back for Major League Baseball?
I hope so.
Yeah.
Look,
Bring woke back to the commissioner's office.
Did you see that Atanasio is also being floated for commissioner? That,
No.
like there were like other owners who were like, we would support him.
I did not see that, but that is one of the least surprising things ever. He's like literally the same path that Bud Selig took.
Selig, exactly.
They own the same team.
It's so cool.
They have nothing else to do.
They were just like, run it back. That worked
they
last
don't
time.
have any new ideas.
Nope.
That's why they were so mad at Rob for the pitch clock. They were like, new idea. Well,
They were like, what does this mean?
yeah. It would be so funny if they just reactionarily put another owner in there, another small market owner, just to own the big market teams. I would have to hand it to them. Like, regrettably, I
Me
have to
too.
hand it to you guys. That would be so funny and great for content.
I think it would be awesome if they put Atanasio in there and then like a few years later open themselves up to a strike again. Like this is kind of what I'm praying for at this point.
God, our pod would do so well if that happened. People would be digging up the old tapes of us talking about Atanasio's sand in Malibu.
We would be eaten for years off that.
Yeah. And you wouldn't even, we would just ignore the fact that we said definitively that Morgan Sword was going to be the next commissioner.
Exactly.
No one would even know that.
No.
Atanasio would be a horrendous commissioner, and that's my take now and forever. Bad. That would be bad for baseball. I'll say it. I'm not afraid. It'd be bad to put one of the small market owners who has traded away stars in favor of not giving them fair contracts.
Why would you say something so controversial?
Yeah, it's so true.
And so brave. So true. Whatever the line is.
Because this podcast is one of the few places that you can actually speak your mind.
Mm-hmm. Unfiltered. It's coming straight from the heart.
Speaking of MLB owners, I want to leave the listeners and you with this thought, Alex.
Yeah.
This is what I was originally going to do as the cold open.
Nice.
Before I remembered about our formula. You know, like how there's a whole cottage industry of neo-fascist, fake hyper-masculine bro dudes like tweeting out Hammurabi quotes and stuff? Or like the Hannibal or any
really
other.
Wish you did not just say that sentence on this podcast. But yes, I'm familiar.
You're familiar with this internet trend?
Yeah.
I'm starting one where I'm just going to share Steve Cohenisms. Like I'm going to start a whole account where I'm just like Steve Cohen says. Because this man is posting like no one else is posting. This is a tweet after the Mets swept the Phillies. We need to keep riding this wave. Space, period. There will be mean reversion. I think he meant reversion. There will be mean reversion at some point, but there is something special happening at Citi Field, period. So much fun, space, exclamation point.
This man said, don't get your hopes up too high.
There will be mean reversion at some point is from the owner of the team on Twitter immediately after they sweep their division rival. It honestly doesn't get funnier than that.
I know.
Like there's no amount of parody, all the jokes we've ever made on this podcast, and he just tweeted it out, you know? We've worked on this for 7.5 years.
Right. It's Donald Trump implementing tariffs and being like, look, like it's going to hurt. I'm not going to lie. It's not going to be great.
Just like having a psychotic episode on Twitter. And then him changing his mind. There will be mean reversion at some point is awesome. I'm going to start saying that to you all the time on this podcast and in real life. Things going wrong for you? Alex, don't worry, bro. There's going to be mean reversion at some point. We're on the subway. We're stuck between stations. There'll be mean reversion at some point. And we're going to go faster between the next two stations.
Exactly. Right. That's how that works.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Steve Cohen actually is my favorite owner. I'm sorry.
Let's go.
I think we should have him on.
Yeah.
Look, he hasn't come on yet, which in my head means that there will be mean reversion at some point, and he will eventually come on.
You're exactly right about that. The mean is owners coming on tipping pitches. Right. So when they haven't come on yet, it will revert to the fact that they have.
Yeah.
There will be mean reversion. Actually, there will be mean reversion. He's just the best at what he does.
One of one.
In so many different regards. Best owner, best hedge fund guy, best art collector,
manager,
best tweeter, best wife guy, second best wife guy in the Mets organization behind Lindor.
Of course.
But he's making a bid. Jeez. Fun times in Queens.
That's right, they are.
Okay. Thank you to everybody for listening to this here episode of the Tipping Pitches podcast. If you'd like more of this silliness, you can find more over at patreon.com/tippingpitches, where if you sign up for our top tier, you can get access to 2 bonus episodes per month. I also can't stress enough how many bonus episodes there are in the back catalog. And if you sign up at any point, you get access to all of them. If you redeem a link by donating to You Can Play, you can get access to all of them. And some of them are timely, but a lot of them are not. If you're looking for more stuff to listen to while you're watching baseball games, or, while you're commuting to work, while you're taking a walk around the neighborhood as the weather is getting warmer in various parts of the United States of America, the Tipping Pitches Patreon has you covered. Highly encourage you to check it out. Alex, any other words of wisdom to leave with the people? One of these days, you're just going to hit me with something that's like really deep.
That's going to floor you.
Right, exactly. I'm still waiting though.
Friends, today is not that day. No, I got nothing.
May all your means revert.
Exactly.
Where and when you need them to. We will talk to you all next week.
Hello, everybody. I'm Alex Rodriguez. Tipping pitches.
Tipping pitches.
This is the one that I love the most.
Tipping pitches.
So we'll see you next week. See ya!